I'm filming from the Point Loma branch library, and today I'm going to show you how to build your own terrarium. Now, I have a few examples here to show you what a terrarium could look like. A terrarium could be open, such as this, and it could house succulents, air plants, anything that could live in a very dry environment. This. Today we're actually going to be building an open terrarium, a closed terrarium, which will support itself by retaining its own water cycle, will keep plants humid, and therefore we will be planting tropical plants that will thrive in this kind of environment. Now, it could look something like this, something tall, skinny, with a lid. This one won't quite work for the plants we're using today, but this is another example of a closed system. Today, I'm actually going to be using this vase to be building our terrarium. At the end, when I'm done, you can always just cover it. You could put like a glass lid on top. You can saran wrap in a pinch. But today it's just going to be open while I show you how to build it. Now, a terrarium, in order to support itself, needs a few different layers. The first layer at the bottom is for our drainage. So this foundation here is for any excess water that goes through the system. You don't want to keep your plants very soggy. It causes root rot, so the water will drain down to the bottom. For the bottom layer, I use gravel is good. It's cheaper. You can use like volcanic stone, and something porous and light is very good. So I put a layer of this at the bottom. And then I also included a layer of activated charcoal. I got this at the pet store. People use it for aquariums. It's good for filtering out like mold. It keeps your tank or your terrarium smelling better. And today, after I washed it, I ground these up because these come in like a pellet form. I ground it up a little. And I sprinkled a little bit of it right above my stones. Okay. So it's kind of up in the air of how effective it is, but I thought I'd include it just in case. Okay. Now, you don't have to replace the charcoal like you do in an aquarium. There's a lot of water going through an aquarium and pumping through the system, so it uses up the charcoal quicker. That is to say, activated charcoal won't work forever and ever, but for the sake of our terrarium, I think it's okay. Our next layer is our substrate. And for this, you don't want to use like a normal potting soil that you would while planting at home. For this, I think it's best to use more of a tropical plant substrate, and in my case I actually asked around at my nursery and he suggested that I use this bonsai potting soil, so I'm using this. Alright, and I'm going to just put in enough so that it'll support our root system. Now, the plants that you'll be using are not huge, right? They have to fit obviously inside this terrarium. And you don't want plants that will grow bigger than your jar. So be a little conscious of those choices, but that should be enough right there. Okay, so we have our drainage layer with the gravel, and then the charcoal at the very in between at the top of the drainage layer. Then I have my bonsai potting soil there. Okay, so now's the fun part. We are going to start planting our plants. So I have a few that I brought today. This is Peperomia cupid, right? And I've already gone ahead and I separated it out. And then some great, you could always use ferns, are really great plant for this kind of environment. Use this little leafy guy here. These are some ferns too. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and I suggest starting with the tallest plants, maybe in the middle. Because you're seeing this from all the way around, you want to put the tall in the middle and the short around the outside so you can see everything. So I'm going to take these, which I've separated out, and I'm going to stick this right in here. So there's a little bit of artistry in this, right? What do you think? Looks good. I have also heard of people using like chopsticks to help pat things down, especially if your jar is skinny. Okay, there you go. Starting on up here. Now, I also have brought in some living moss. So if you go to the store and you start looking for materials for your terrarium, a lot of the times you'll find preserved moss. And at one point it was alive, so it's real, but it's not alive anymore. That kind of moss won't work in a closed system because it'll get moldy. This right here is still alive, it's got its root system going. I'm opening it up a little bit because it kind of grew into the shape of its container, spreading it out a little so it'll hopefully live a long, healthy life in here. And I'm gonna find, I might break this up a little bit more actually, make it smaller. Oops. Okay. Here we go. And this is kind of fun. You want to play a little bit with height. I feel like I'm going to overcrowd this really fast. Kind of tap it in, make sure it's stable. It's not going anywhere, right? Alright, so I got my moss there. Okay. Now it's up to you how much you want to put in. Kind of got some layered height here, but I would suggest also playing with some abiotic design choices. So you can use things like sticks, some glowing sticks. You can find rocks. I have some volcanic rock. I might actually put that in here. Let's see, I want it on this. Over here. Over here. There we go. Okay, so we've got some moss, we got our stone. It's looking kind of good. And then you can always add something fun, like a little personal addition here. You can have little things living in your terrarium. Maybe this is, yeah, like so. It's up to you. I have like a little truck here too. Maybe you want to put a truck in your terrarium or a little garden gnome, or you can even add animals to your terrarium. You would like, if you'd like, isopods are a really good choice. Things like, roly-polies, because they'll eat up decaying matter. And of course you're going to have this closed environment where things will decay, so an isopod is not a bad choice. I haven't yet done that, but it sounds kind of cool. Yeah. And then at the very end you would add a lid, and that's all. In order to keep this alive, it needs consistent indirect sunlight or light. So you can set it up next to a lamp, you get some good light that way. And then you might want to check to the moisture levels. You might see the condensation on the side, which is totally normal. You might give it a little spray every now and then to keep it happy. But this should be looking good for a long time. Yeah. I hope you enjoy making your own terrarium. and enjoy the How-to Festival.